Hey, welcome to another Ember screencast. So back in January, I wrote an article about how to turn an API basically that uses callbacks to one that uses promises. And I had one of my readers, Milisami, point out or rather ask why was it necessary to wrap the promise returned from the AppAdapter AJAX call into another promise. And there I gave an explanation which is true, because we had to do something with the data that gets returned from the AJAX call, and we need to wrap the response from the model hook into a promise. But he had a really good point, and a few weeks ago I read this article, which I highly recommend and will provide a link below this video, that introduced a few anti-patterns for promises. And the one that caught my eye was the forgotten promise one, because I found that it's eerily similar to the one that I had in my code. So if you take a look at this pattern and then switch over to how I implemented it, it's quite similar. So I had this lingering feeling that I could simplify my code, and in fact that's what I did in this episode. So what the forgotten promise anti-pattern states is that if inside a fulfillment handler there is another statement that returns a promise, then there is no need to wrap the whole thing into another promise. So in this case, it means that if the AppArtist.createRecord call would return a promise, then I could get rid of this outer new promise creation. And I could reuse it. I could reuse the same concept in case of the artist route here down below, because here again it's just the AppArtist. I've wrapped the whole thing into a promise to be able to create an artist record from the data that gets back from the backend. So yes, it points to AppArtist.createRecord to that method, and if that method returned a promise, I'd be good and I could make the code simpler. So let's do that. Here, as you can see now, I just returned the new record, the artist record, and instead I'm going to use the resolve method from the RSVP library, which just resolves a promise with the value that gets passed in. Once that's done, I can return here, and I'm going to begin with the AppArtist route because it's a lot simpler. So I could get rid of this outer promise, and then I don't need the resolve, but I can just return the call to the create record, and that's it. A lot simpler. Let's see the other model hook, the artist route. Here it's a bit trickier because I need to resolve this model hook with all the records that were created from the data, so from all artist records. And currently I just push them into an array, and once that's done, I resolve with that array. But again, I can simplify, and the way to do that is there is a method called RSVP_all in the RSVP library. So first, let me just get rid of this one again. And what I can do is here, sorry, let's go step by step. So return here, and inside here, I can say artist objects. Yeah, so first I need a map of an array of promises. So since artist create record now returns a promise, artist object is going to contain an array of promises. And now what I was referring to is that you have this method called all, which is a composite promise. It is going to be resolved when all the promises have been successfully fulfilled, or if any of them fails. So then I can delete this one, I can delete this one, and hopefully this is going to cut it. You can see that Horse.js is now looking after me, so this should just work. Data is not defined. Oh, it seems to work. One thing that might not be clear is why I need the second parameter to the map call app.artist. And that's because if you take a look at how create record is defined, you can see that I call this dot extract songs, so I need to have the correct this parameter, the correct context. And so all of the array, well, all of the methods that work with a callback function and an array like map, for each, reduce, take an optional second parameter, the context, which is going to be passed to the callback function. So that's why I passed app.artist as a second parameter. So you can see that just by returning a promise from the app.artist create record method, we gradually, we really simplified both model hooks. So we reduced that monstrosity to this very slick three line call to Ajax and then inside an artist object. So I hope you have found this useful and you might use this in your project. Thank you.